So we're doing June 2021, paper 2, question 1E. Using a calculator, otherwise calculate the exact value, 1/4/7, divide by 2/3, minus 1/5/7. Now, bud mass or bed mass applies, so we have to do the division before you can subtract. Right? In order to do this, we're going to change the improper fractions, multiply the whole number by the denominator, 1/7, and add to the numerator. So we have 11/7, change the division to a multiplication sign, and invert the fraction after it, so it'll be 3/2, minus, and we will do the same here. So 1/7 is 7, and 5 is 12/7. This cannot simplify, so we have to multiply it out. 11/3 is 33, 7 2s are 14. And we bring down the 12/7. Now, we're subtracting, so we find the LCM. The LCM in this case is 14. So 14 divided by 14 is 1. So 1/33 will give us 33. Take away sign comes down. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So 2/12 is 24. And 33 take away 24 is 9/14. This cannot simplify, so that's the answer. So part B, when Megan started working, she was paid $85 each week. After 6 months probationary period, the pay was increased by 20%. How much was she paid each week after the increase? Now, the regular pay, we could do this 2 ways. It would be 100%, right? And the increase is 20%. So in total, it will be 120%, or the same as 120/100. Now, you can take this and multiply by the weekly pay, which is $85/1, and use a calculator, because you could do that in paper 2. Right? So 120 divided by 100, multiply by $85. So $102. The alternative way is to find what is 20% of $85 and then add it back, right? So 20% of $85 will be 20/100 by 85/1. You'll get 0.2 here, right? And 0.2 by 85 is $17. And we could say that we're going to add that back to the $85. So yeah, that's 102. So the 2 ways to do it depends on how you want to do it. If you want to find 20% first and then add it back to the initial amount, or you want to work it out like this, which is 120%. Part C, country. In 1965, the population of our country was 2,714,000. In 2015, the population was 3,663,900. Write the population in 2015 correct 3 significant figures. So, part C, A, part 1A, sorry. Write the population in 2015, this amount, to 3 significant figures. So we have 3,663,900. Now, significant figures, we count from the first number. So this will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3. So we approximate based on this being the third value, and the watching number after it is less than 5. So approximately 3660, sorry, yeah, 366000. So 3,660,000. Now this is 3 sig fig, 3SF. That's how you want to write it. Part B, write the population in 1965 in standard form. So we have 2714000. Right, now the decimal point in this case is here. To write it in standard form, we want the decimal place to be here. How many spaces did we move, or how much we divided by? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll have 2.714 by 10 to the power 6. Now, the 6 is positive because this is a smaller value than the initial value. If it was the other way around, let's say we had 0.002714 to get the decimal point here, 4, this would be 2.714 by 10 to the negative 4, because this value is larger than a decimal value. So that's to explain how you get the positive and negative values. Again, part 2, determine the percentage increase in the population. Right, so part 2. Now the increase will be what? So we have to minus 3,663,900 minus 2,714,000. So 3663900 subtract 2714000, 949,900. So that's the difference. Now we want to write it as a population increase based on 1965. So as a percentage. So maybe 994,900 over the amount that we had in 1965, not the amount that we had in 2015. This is the amount we have to put together. So 2,714,000 by 100 over 1. Now, simple maths, put some zeros here, or we could just use the calculator. So we have this amount, divide by 2714000, and multiply by 100 to get 35% increase. Sorry for the background noise. The ratio of teachers to male students to female students in the school is 3 to 17 to 18. And the total number of students in the school is 630, determining the number of teachers in the school. Now, this is part D. So the ratio is 3 to 17 to 18. What they're saying is that this part of the ratio, the number of students, 17 to 18, is equal to 630 students. Now let's think about it in terms of shares, or in terms of parts. How many parts do we have here? 17 and 18. So we have to add it. So we have 35 shares, you could consider it. So 35 shares is equal to 630 students. So we want to find how much one share would be. In order to find one share, we would divide by 35. 630 divided by 35. Let's go down a little bit. So 630 divided by 35 is 18. So one share. One share is 18 students. Or one share is, yeah, one share is 18 people, right? Now, the teacher's share is 3. So 3 shares, 3 by 18. So 54 teachers. And that's the end of question 1. So we'll go on to question 2. Page here, 2. The quantity n and t are related as follows. This is part A. N is equal to the root of t. Part 1, find the value of n when t is equal to 40. So basically, if t is equal to 49, substitute the value, you should get square root of 49 the same one. Part 2, make t the subject of the formula. So we have n equal to t. So we want t to be subject of the formula. So we need to get rid of the square root sign. The opposite of square root and it's a square. If the square on the right of the equal sign, the square on the left of the equal sign. So n squared is equal to t, because basically what we did is cancel this with this. N squared, square sign. So that is making t the subject of the formula. Now it doesn't matter if you put t on the right hand side or you do this, because both of them will be the same. So part B, Ali is X years old, Jim is 5 years older than Ali, and Chris is twice as old as Ali. So P. So Ali is X. Jim is 5 years older than Ali, and Chris is twice as old as Ali, right? Expressions in terms of X for Jim's and Chris's age. So Jim is 5 years older, so X plus 5. Chris is twice as old, so 2 by X, or we could say 2X is an expression. That's part 1, part 2. In 2 years' time, the product of Ali's age and Chris's age will be the same as the square of Jim's present age. So in 2 years' time, let's think about this. So Ali is X. In 2 years, she'll be X plus 2. And Chris is 2X. And in 2 years' time, he'll be 2X plus 2. And they want to use Jim's present age. So Jim's present age is X plus 5. Now, the question says the product of Ali and Jim. So Ali multiplied by Chris is equal to Jim in this case. So X plus 2 multiplied by 2X plus 2. Right? So Ali is X plus 2 and Chris is 2X plus 2 and is equal to Jim's current age, X plus 5. Now, show that the equation will represent the information. So basically what you have to do now is remove the brackets in this here. And to remove the brackets, we know we're multiplying. So x would multiply by both terms, and a 2 would multiply by both terms in order to remove the brackets. So x by 2x is 2x squared. X by positive 2 is positive 2x. Positive 2 by 2x is positive 4x. And positive 2 by 2 is positive 4. Remember, we have the right-hand side, which is equal to x plus 5. And we want to simplify everything. So we have 2x squared. Let's make it neat. 2x squared plus 2x plus 4x. We can simplify this here for now. We get 6x plus 4 is equal to x plus 5. Now, in the question, the CDO wants us to make it equal to 0. So that means you have to carry this to the left-hand side. So we'll have 2x squared plus 6x. If I move this x across, it becomes negative x. I bring in only plus 4 here. If I move the 5 across, it becomes negative 5 is equal to 0. We seem to not have what it is we're looking for. In 2 years' time, so I'll just finish here what I'm doing. Now go back over to make sure. So 6x minus x is 5x. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Show that this equation represents the information above. Let's read that again. In 2 years' time, the product of Ali's age and Chris's age will be the same. Oh, I didn't read this part. The square of Jim's present age. Sorry, did not read that part. So all of this needs to be fixed. Pattern. Only the right-hand side needs to be fixed. So let's fix it. So the square, did not read that part. So that's why we have to be very careful when we read it, right? So the square of Jim's age. So square means multiplying by itself. So you can say x plus 5 by itself. And again, is a similar or same way to remove the brackets. X would multiply by the 2 terms, the 5 would multiply by the 2 terms. So x by x is x squared. X by 5 is positive 5x. 5 by x is positive 5x. And lastly, 5 by 5 is positive 25. And now we want to move this to the left-hand side. So let's group everything as we go. So we have 2x squared from here. Bringing this x across will be negative x squared. Then we had 2x plus this is 6x. And this, if we add it up, is 10x. Bring it across to the left-hand side is negative 10x. Plus 4. Bringing 21 across will give us negative 25 across will give us negative 25. And that will remain with the right-hand side being equal to 0 because we moved everything else. Now simplifying 2x minus x, we know that the coefficient is 1, so 2 minus 1 is 1, or 1x squared. Do not need to put the 1, is understood. 6, positive 6 minus 10x. We subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So 10 minus 6 is 4, the larger number was negative. And again, same thing here, we're subtracting. So we subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. Larger number is negative. 25 take away 4 is 21. So this is proof of. Right? So sometimes it does pay to read your questions over. Calculate Ali's present age. So how do we go about doing that? In order to do that, we need to solve the equation that we just made. So we have 3 x squared minus 4x minus 21 is equal to 0. It's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So a is the number in front of x squared, in this case is 1. B is the number in front of x by itself, in this case is negative 4. And c is the number by itself, 21. So what I like to do, so in column, and to do this, we need to say AC, right? So A by C is 1 by negative 21, which is negative 21. And what are the factors of 21 that if we add or subtract will give us 4 or negative 4? So what are the factors of 21? So we have 1 and 21, which wouldn't work. We have 3 and 7. Now if you add it, right, you get 10. But if we say 1 is positive and 1 is negative, so let's say if 3 is negative and we add it, we'll get positive 4, but we're looking for negative, so we want the larger number to be negative, so 7 and 3, and if you add it, we'll get negative 4, which is equal to b. So what we do is we're going to rewrite negative 4x as negative 7x plus 3x. We're going to bring everything else down, so x squared and negative 21 equal to 0. So basically what we did is replace the negative 4x with 2 terms that will add and give us negative 4. Now we're going to factorize in parts. So we're going to factorize the first half, and x to go into both terms. So x squared divided by x will give us x. Negative 7x divided by x is negative 7. And then we want the second pair of brackets to have a negative sign here. So what this negative would be divided by to give us a negative sign there is a positive. So we want a positive value on the outside. And you can see that the factor in the second half is 3, for the common factor. So 3x divided by positive 3 will give us x. 21 divided by 3 is 7. The brackets are exactly the same, so they can be factored out one more time. So x minus 7. And we open the next pair of brackets to say x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now, we need to solve each bracket. Now, we understand that there's a multiplier here, and in order for the answer to be equal to 0, one of these brackets have to be equal to 0 because 0 by anything is 0. So how do we do that? We say either x minus 7 is equal to 0 or x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now, we're going to solve for x, so carry the 7 across. That's a little bit too jumbled. Carry the 7 across, it becomes positive 7. And in this case, you carry the 3 across, it becomes negative 3. Now, she cannot have a negative age. So this cannot work. So this is the answer. So Ali is 7 years. There's a lot of work to get to that. That's the end of the question. We'll move on to question 3. Now, question 3. The diagram below shows a triangle PQR with the angle QPR. So the angle is in the middle letter, which is 62. Angle PQR is 90 degrees. And PR is 11 centimeters. Right, so question 3 part A. Just for reference, I'm going to draw the diagram. You don't need to draw the diagram in the exams. Because I write it on the paper. 11, 62, P, R. Now this is the hypotenuse, because it's opposite the right angle. So part 1, calculate the angle of PRQ. So PRQ, that's this angle here. And that should be straightforward because the sum of the angles in the triangle is equal to 180. So what we do, so the angle PRQ is 180, subtract the sum of the other two angles, which is 90 plus 62. So 180 minus 152. Don't forget your degrees. So 180 minus 52, 10 minus 8, sorry, 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus is 2. So this angle here is 28 degrees. What is the length of side RQ? So RQ is this length here. It's a right angle triangle. You can use SOHCAHTOA. So part 2. SOHCAHTOA. The sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan is opposite over adjacent. This side, and let's use the angle that we'll give on, which is 62. This angle is opposite to this side. So which one uses opposite and hypotenuse? Which one writes hypotenuse? Right. So which one uses hypotenuse and opposite? The sine formula. So sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And we could fill that out. So sine 62 degrees is equal to, in this case, we don't know what it is, so put it as x over 11. We want to get rid of the 11 multiplying on both sides. This will cancel out, remaining with the x only. And we could use the calculator to work this out. So my calculator might be different from yours. I have to type in the value first and then press sine. So you're supposed to get 0.8829 whatever, and then multiply by 11. And let's use, how many decimal places did we have? So none. So let's use 2 decimal places for now. So 971. And we given units. Yes, centimeters. So put back units. All right. Part B. The diagram below shows 3 triangles X, Y, and Z on the same grid. So we can clearly see X, Y, and Z. Triangle X is mapped onto triangle Y by a reflection. So state the equation of the mirror line. So triangle X, that's this one here, maps onto triangle Y by a reflection. Now, you can clearly see that is equal distance from the x-axis. That means the x-axis is a mirror line, right? Now, if the x-axis is a mirror line, what does that mean? That's a reflection. So property, that's P, plot 1. The x-axis is a mirror line. So the mirror line is x equal to 0. no, not x equal to 0, y is equal to 0. Because on this line, y, which is the vertical line, is always 0. Or we could see the mirror line is the x axis, which is the same as saying y is equal to 0. Now, if this is accurate, this one you may get the mark. I'm not promising that you get it. You need to know that the y-axis, the x-axis is y is equal to 0, and the y-axis represents x is equal to 0. Right? Part 2, describe fully the transformation that maps triangle X onto triangle Z. So triangle X onto triangle Z. Now, if we watch it turn, and it went from this sector into this sector, which is a 90 degrees rotation, right? And it's a 90 degrees rotation about the origin. So that's what we're going to write. So describe Fourier transformation. So triangle X maps onto triangle Z by a 90 degree, and it's anti because it went left, clockwise rotation about the origin. Now again, the origin is the center of the x and y, or the intersection of the x and y axis. Part 3, on the diagram on page 10, translate y using the vector -7, label the image V. So in order to do this, you need to know what the coordinates are. So we want the coordinates of y, right? So let's call this A, B, and C. A would be 0 on the x, but -2 on the y. B would be 6 on the x, and again -2 on the y, so 6, -2. And C is 4 on the x, coming on the 4 line, and -4 on the y, so 4, -4. Now the translation that they give us is -7, 1, and the formula you're using is the object plus the translation is equal to the image. So A, which is 0, -2, and you can write it as a vector, plus T, will give you the image of U. So T is -7, 1, and we add in 0 plus -7 is -7, -2 plus 1, the sign is different, keep subtracting, keep designing a larger number, so -1. We need for B as well, so D plus T equals to D prime. So 6 over -2 plus -7 over 1. We add in, but the sign is different, so subtracting, keep designing a larger number. Same thing here. And C plus the translation of negative C prime. So 4 over -4 plus -7 over 1, -3, -3. Okay. So what we have to do now is plot it on the graph that was given. So I have to actually copy the graph. This is here. lighting a little bit. Copy image. I don't want it to be that big. So let's keep it down a little bit. So let's scale down so you can see it. Right. So what we have to do now is plot these points. So -7 on the x, which I kind of botched out. -7 will be somewhere here. I will say continue the graph, right? So -7, -1, which is there because -1 is here on the graph. -1, -1. So, sorry, wait. So this is a -7. That's point there. This will be -1 here, -1, -1. So that will be prime. And C, -3, which is here, and -3, which is on this line. So then you draw your, using your ruler, draw your lines. Points. That's supposed to be on the line itself, so we'll fix that one. And because the computer's messing it up, it's not on the point, so it's supposed to be on the point itself, right? Try to use a ruler. So that's what that's supposed to look like. On the diagram, enlarge the triangle X about the center and a scale factor of half. Label this W, or we didn't label the diagram, so this was supposed to be V. Now they want to enlarge X about the point, right? So you have to think about it like this. If you were to think about it like this, you draw in lines here. And these lines are vectors, right? That passes through the point from the center. Now, we have to state what the points are for that triangle. So what are the points for that triangle? If you were to call them P, Q, and R, P would be 0, +2. Q would be 6, 2. And R would be 4, 4. Now, these can be written as vectors that I just showed you. So OP is 0, 2, OQ 6, 2, and OR is 4, 4. So to scale it, and they want us to scale by a scale factor half, right? We say half multiplied by rho p. So a half by 0, 2, it should give us 0, a half by 0 is 0, and a half by 2 is 1. So we're going to plot that point on the graph. I'm going to use a different color. So blue. So 0 and 1 is here. Now I use a very large dot for you all to see. You all don't do that, please, for your exam. And then a half of Q, sorry. Half by 6, 2. A half by 6 is 3, and a half by 2 is 1. Remember, you multiply by each 2. Right, so 3 and 1. 3 on the x, 1 here. This would be not using the red line. Lastly, we want a half of OR. So a half of 4, which is 2, 2. So 2 on the x, 2 on the y, and then again using a ruler, draw a line. Right? So that's what you're supposed to look like. Even though they said the word enlargement, we got a smaller diagram because scale factors are half. If it was a whole number, you would have been a bigger shape. Okay? And that's the end of question 3. So page question 4. The diagram below shows 2 lines, L1 and L2. L1 is this one here, L2 is this one here. We have an axis of x. The equation of L1 is x plus 2y is equal to 10. Line 2. The equation of line 1 is x plus 2y is equal to 10. Line 2 passes through the point 0, negative 5, and is perpendicular to line 1. Express the equation of line 1 in the form y equals mx plus c. So let's do that. Step 1, we want this x plus 2y equals 10 in the form y equals to mx plus. So basically, you want the y by itself here to carry everything else across. Now to remove the x and minus it, so we'll have 2y is equal to 10 minus x, where you carry it across to the right hand side becomes negative. Then you want to divide by 2. You'll have y is equal to 10 minus x over 2. Now, you do not want it like this. You want to simplify. So the 2 divides both terms. So we'll have 10 over 2 minus x over 2. And this can be simplified to get 5 minus x over 2, or we could say half x. And to rearrange it in this general form, which is the general form of a straight line, you put the x value in front, so negative a half x, and this 5 is positive, so positive 5, 5. So this is in the general form. State the gradient of line 2. So part 2, we want the gradient of line 2. Now, they said that line 2 is perpendicular to line 1. What does that mean? That means that gradient of line 1 multiply by the gradient of line 2 would give us -1. That's a note that you all should know. Right? Now, what is the gradient of line 1? The m value from your general form. So your m value for line 1 is -1/2. Multiply by m for line 2 is -1. You're going to divide, because the opposite to divide multiplies to divide. So you're going to divide by 1/2 from both sides, or -1/2, sorry. Which would give us this and this cancel it out. -1 multiplied by 2 over 1, because you flip the fraction. Negative by negative is a positive. So we have the gradient of line 2 being 2. Hence determine the equation of the line 2. Now, we are given the gradient, which is 2, and we are given a point that it passes through. Let me just scroll up and get the point. 0 and -5. And there are two ways you could do this. You could say y is equal to mx plus c, and substitute m, substitute x, substitute y, and look at the value. Or right, and say y minus -5 equal to 2x minus 0. And this will be y plus 5 is equal to 2x, 2 by, so we remove any bracket by multiplying, right? So 2 by x is 2x, and 2 by 0 is 0. So we have y plus 5 is equal to 2x. Carry the 5 across, you'll get y is equal to 2x minus 5. So this is the equation for line 2. Now doing it the other way, so this will be x, this will be a y value. So 0 is equal to 2, sorry, not 2, -5 plus c. So we have 0 plus c is equal to -5, so -5 is equal to c. And then we write it back, y equals to mx plus c, where y, m is 2, and c in this case is -5, so it's the same thing. Right, now this formula is easier formula to learn. This y value comes from here, this x value comes from here for the point, right? Now we're going on to part B. So part B. Given f of x, so we have two functions. There's 1/3 x plus 4, and g of x is 3x over x plus 1. Determine the value of the function of 9. So the f of 9. So basically, we're replacing the x value with 9 in this case. So 1/3 of 9 plus 4. This is similar to saying 9 divided by 3, which is 3, plus 4, 7. The function of 9 is 7. Now, part 2, we want the f g of -3. So we want the f function of the g of negative 3. So what is g of negative 3? Basically, we're going to replace x with 3 in this function here. So we'll have negative 3 and negative 3 plus 1, which we could simplify a little bit before we substitute it into the f function. So 3 by negative 3 is negative 9. 3 by negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. So we could say this is the same as 9 over 2 because a negative divided by negative. And now we're going to substitute 9 over 2 into the f function. So we have the f function being 1 to 9 over 2 plus 4. Right, so we can simplify here. 3 into 3, 1, 3 into 9 is 3. So we have 3 over 2 plus 4. Now we know this to be 1.5. So 1.5 plus 4 is 5.5. No need for long fractions working out, right? So we just add the whole numbers to get 5.5. Determine the value of x. So part 3. We have g of x is equal to 5 over 2. Now there are two ways to do this. We find the inverse of g and substitute 5 over 2 in it, or we say simply just put the g function is equal to this and work it out. So g function is x over 3x, sorry, x plus 1 is equal to 5 over 2. Now, I'm going to put this in a bracket, and cross multiply to get rid of the fractions. So 3x will multiply by 2 to give us 6x, and 5x multiplied by x plus 1, we could simplify that after by removing the brackets, multiplying the 5 by each 2, 5x plus 5, and I want only x's on one side, so I will carry this to the left will become negative 6x take out 5x equal to 5, so x is equal to 5. So if we were to substitute 5 into the g formula, we should get 5 over 2. Right? And so that's it. Yeah, so that's the end of that question.